morning, fellow Toastmasters.
Good morning.
I want to hereby call to order Lake Mary Toastmasters Club 644, the very best Toastmasters in all of Florida. Everyone, please silence your cell phones. We're going to stand for Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. We're on a mission! Have you missed that? Yeah, we do. I don't have my script in front of me, but we're on a mission to get better as speakers, as communicators, and we have a great agenda for today. Toastmasters is meant to give you leadership and personal growth, so do not be surprised if you leave here with more leadership and personal growth. Please help me welcome today's Toastmaster, I can't find a great name for Julia, but the great Julia Kaufman. Give her a big round of applause.
Call you Rusty Rich. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Lake Mary Toastmasters.
Good morning.
Good morning. These mornings, it just starts on a high note for me. I am pleased to be your Toastmaster this morning. We have a big morning planned. We have officers' installation as well as 2 speeches planned. We're going to start right into our technical table roles. They'll introduce what they're planning to do this morning, starting out with our awe counter, Ms. Stephanie Byrne. What's your role, please?
Good morning, Madam Toastmaster, fellow members. We have no guests. You know the drill. Thank you.
I think that's the counter introduction I've ever heard. All right, Skip. Mr. Timer, what's your role?
Good morning, everyone, fellow Toastmasters. My function is to time the speakers, evaluators, and table topic participants to ensure they meet the timing requirements. I will demonstrate the timing lights, which will be displayed as follows. We have green for speakers, 4 minutes, table topics, 30 seconds, evaluators at 2. The yellow will be displayed at 5 seconds for speakers, or table topics will be 45 seconds, and then 2.5 minutes for evaluators. And then we have red is displayed 6 for speakers, 1 minute for table topics, and evaluators 3 minutes. Any questions?
Well, thank you very much. Now we're going to skip right over to our grammarian, Miss Claudia Cermelli.
Madam Toastmasters. So today I'll be the grammarian, and my function is to select, well, I didn't select the word of the day, but the word of the day is loquacious, and it means talking or tending to talk much or freely, talkative, chattering, babbling. So an example of it would be Toastmaster helps people become loquacious speakers. So we encourage you to use the word of the day many times, or not. If not, you will have to talk with Mr. Ernst, right? If you don't use the word. So, in addition to that, I'll be looking for errors in grammar as well as excellent word selection, and I'll be noting any colorful thoughts or phrases that you use. I'll present my report at the end of the meeting.
I would like to say more by all means.
Madam Toastmaster, since I was anything but loquacious in introducing my role, let me introduce you to my clicker.
Ooh, up in the ante.
Yeah, for ahs and ums and double clutches and so
Is
well,
there
but you
anyone
know.
who's speaking today, Stephen and Ernst, that does not want to have me clicked on during your speech?
Okay.
You're good with it? All right. I know you'd be good with it.
I think there was a.
All right. We also have a semi-guest, really not a guest.
Really?
We have our area, we have a distinguished area director here who is actually now going to be a division director for this next year. She's also doing our installation, so we've got a sandwich approach this morning. We have a speech, we have our installation for our officers for 2018, 2019, and then we have a speech followed up with Stephen. So welcome, Susan. Thank you for being here. You know, I joined Toastmasters 12 years ago. I keep saying 12. I've been saying 12 for the last 3 years.
14.
So 14.
I joined in 2004.
And I've always been a pretty quiet person. Now I can chitter-chatter and win the mood, especially if I've had a couple drinks. But Toastmasters has made me a loquacious speaker. So a little better in terms of communication skills amongst people. Without further ado, I hate that. What a terrible transition. Sorry,
We've
Ernst.
just been doing a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah. Our first speaker this morning, competent communicator Ernst is giving a speech. I'm very interested in hearing this one, Ernst, on a very important topic of what ingredients are needed to succeed in your own business. That's a tough one. So please welcome to the lectern, Mr. Ernst
Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, we have one guest. I'm trying to give a loquacious presentation. What I'm about to say will help many of you, especially the ones who are planning to go into their own business or know anyone who is in their own business. It is heartbreaking to see the many entrepreneurs who start out their own business only to fail after a couple of years, 6 months, who knows. According to Bloomberg Financial News Network, they just studied that 8 out of 10 businesses go bankrupt or stop within the first 18 months. Behind each closed restaurant door or wine store or boutique, what have you, you can go down the wall and see many of them. There's not only a failed business, but also there is a dream which was broken, a dream of an individual or a family. Not only a dream, but many times these people end up in financial ruin and can't get a mortgage. Think about that. Why? I'm going to hopefully explain that by the end of my speech. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow members, and honored guests. There's many people out there right now, and there were in the past and they're going to be in the future, who dream to become financially free and start their own business. Get rid of their terrible bosses, their crazy company policies and procedures, and above all, make more money and get out of their dead-end job. He wants to come in, I guess.
Let her come in. She's going to be distracted. Come on in.
She had already said she would.
The desires and the emotions why somebody wants to get in their own business is pretty much across all jobs, within managers and professionals, doctors, attorneys, plumbers, school teachers, what have you. They're all pretty much the same. What I'm going to explain to you today is not to discourage you to get in your own business, but to explain to you what you have to be, what to watch out for. There's 3 different traits which you have to be aware of. Without any question, number one reason why businesses fail is they're running out of cash. They never have enough money. And that's why, that might be the number one reason. It kind of dovetails to what I have to say. But there are other traits which you need to be aware of. If you knowingly or unknowingly ignore them, you will end up, maybe not in the first 6 months, but after a year, 2 years, 3 years, or 15 or 20 years, to still fail in your own business. What is entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship, according to Webster's Dictionary, is someone who starts their own business and risk all their money for success or failure. According to Michael Gerber, one of the top management consultant and speaker and author of the book called The E-Myth, described it this way, that the minute someone starts thinking about going into their own business, get locked into a entrepreneurial seizure. And we all know what happens when you have a seizure. You can't think. The United States, of course, is the #1 country where people start their own businesses. Because the business climate, the rules, the regulations, it encourages entrepreneurship. But there's a couple of traps, and 3 you need to be aware of. #1, understand that when you go into your own business, as the word implies, you develop a business, not just to buy yourself a job. And people don't understand there's a huge difference. And there are 3 components which make up a business in order for it to be successful. #1, you need to be a technician. Whatever you want to start a business for, whether it be plumbing or whatever, you need to be good at that particular part of the business. #2, you have to be or have a good manager to develop the business, set up the business, have the rules, the regulation, the plan, the forward plan, the cash management, and all the things which a business needs. And #3, you have to be an entrepreneur, someone who goes out and hustles the business. Because if you start a business, no business, you're out of business. ABC. #3, they all need to be synchronized. You can't just start out with one and then later on come the other. It doesn't work that way. It's much like baking a cake. Think about it. You have to bake a cake, put all the ingredients in there for it to rise and taste good. Do it the other way? No matter how well-intentioned and hard-working you might be, working 7 days a week, 20 hours a day, never taking a vacation, if you don't have the other 2 components, you will eventually fail. You run out of enthusiasm or health, whatever. Think about baking a cake. Go back to that. You put in the eggs, and then you put in the oven. A week later, you put in the flour. 2 weeks later, a month later, you put in the butter. Well, you're never going to have a good cake. But the same thing with a business. It all has to work together from day 1. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Remember, someone always needs to work on the business. Someone needs to be all working in the business. And someone needs to always hustle the business to get more. All these 3 functions are normally incompatible. Nobody has them all together. You might be a fantastic plumber, the best there is. You have all the skills of plumbing. But the business of plumbing, that's what you're trying to create, has totally different skills. And that's why people make it or break it. Done, Toastmaster.
We need a minute on the clock, please. Yep. and skip on Stephen Morgan's speech. Instead of 4 to 6, he needs 5 to 7. My bad. All right, now it's time for officers installation. Please welcome our
Okay, thank you. Hey, I promise not to try, or to try not to be that loquacious today. We'll get through this quickly, hopefully. Will the outgoing officers please stand? Okay, are there only a couple? Okay. On behalf of the district and the area, I discharge you from your duties as of June 30th, and thank you all very much for your service and for all your accomplishments at getting you presidents distinguished. We appreciate it. And now I'm going to call up the new officers to please stand here, starting with Sergeant at Arms and heading down to President. Whichever way, it doesn't matter. So whoever is here.
I have to say that the order.
Okay, Sergeant at Arms, Treasurer, Secretary, VP Mentorship, VP Public Relations, Vice President of Membership, Vice President of Education, and President.
I think she's lining up.
Whichever way. What? President is last.
Oh, what's the order again?
Sergeant at Arms,
First to last.
Treasurer, Secretary.
Okay, see, I was right where I needed to be. I knew what I was doing.
Okay, so who's the Sergeant at Arms?
Well, not
They're
here.
here, and they're not.
They're gone, okay. I'll let you hold the gavel. Okay, so the Sergeant, I'm here to install the officers of Lake Mary Toastmasters and to prepare them for the challenges that lie ahead. Their collective challenge is to make and keep this club strong, dedicated to helping people from all walks of life and to speak in an effective manner. Listen with sensitivity and think with creativity. As each officer steps forward, I will ask him to hold the gavel as a symbol of leadership. The Sergeant at Arms. As Sergeant at Arms, you are responsible for maintaining club properties, arranging the meeting room, and welcoming members and guests at each meeting. They are not here tonight, but
Said she does, I do.
okay. Will you perform these duties to the best of your abilities? And that was a yes. Secretary, as secretary, let's go ahead and
Yeah,
your secretary.
I am.
All right, as secretary, you are responsible for keeping clear and accurate records of club business, including membership records and correspondence with Toastmasters International and others. Will you discharge these, or will you perform these duties to the best of your ability?
Yes, I will.
All right. Next is our treasurer. As treasurer, you're responsible for keeping clear and accurate financial records of club business and for seeing that the club remains financially stable.
All right. Solvent.
All right. Solvent. Will you do? Okay, all right. Go ahead and pass it on to our VP of Mentorship. Stephanie, I guess you do all the mentoring and assign mentors and training and development. Will you perform these duties to the best of your ability?
Sure thing.
All right, moving on to our Vice President of Public Relations. As Vice President of Public Relations, you are responsible for coordinating an active public relations and publicity program. Your job is vital to the growth and success of the club. Your efforts to help attract new members. Will you perform these duties to the best of your ability?
Yes, I will.
All right. Vice President of Membership. All right. As Vice President of Membership, you are responsible for building membership and ensuring a strong membership base by satisfying the needs of all the members. Your efforts contribute to the success of the club. Will you perform these duties to the best of your ability?
I will.
Vice President of Education. As Vice President of Education, you are responsible for providing and maintaining the positive environment of the program through which members can learn and grow. If you do your job well, your club will have satisfied members and continue to grow. Will you perform these duties to the best of your ability?
Yes, I will.
Okay. Having been elected president of Lake Mary's Toastmasters, you are its chief executive officer and will be expected to preside at all club meetings and at all regular and special meetings of your executive committee. As president, you are responsible for providing the supportive club environment members need to fulfill their self-development goals, making sure that members benefit from the Toastmasters educational program, and helping the club recruit new members and retain current ones. Please accept the gavel as a symbol of your leadership and dedication to the office. The gavel is a symbol of power and authority given to you by the membership of this club. Use it wisely and with restraint. You are a member of your team as well as a leader. A team is more than the collection of people. It's an emotional force rooted in feelings, thoughts, and actions of all members with the common goal of achievement, sharing, and mutual support. Work with your team members to create a healthy, dynamic, and distinguished club, a club which everyone will be proud. Will you, as president, accept the challenge and perform your duties to the best of your abilities?
I will.
Installed. Everyone, please welcome your new officers. You all may be seated.
Can we
except
get
for
a-
Stephen.
Wait a minute.
So you have pictures?
Everybody squeeze in.
Can we
Squeeze in.
switch in?
Picture.
Okay. I'll get close to Steph
Kodak's
here.
more.
Get us all there. Okay, here we go. And, whoops. Okay, yay.
All
you.
right. Please help me welcome your brand new president, Stephen Morgan.
See what all the goals are when the president is here.
You handed me the keys. Now start taking out for a drive. Who always remembered first learning to drive? It was such an amazing experience when you got to drive by your own the first time, the freedom, the ability to move about. It's not quite the same years later, is it? It especially changed when we had kids. Then it became having to make sure that everything was in the car at the right time, having to get them to places at the right time, pick them up at the right time. Suddenly it became a different kind of a chore having to drive the kids around. It was really fascinating because just recently my son has now started driving.
Hence that laughter.
Teaching him to drive was an interesting experience. Now he's out on his own. I don't have to drive around anymore. I get a bit more freedom as it is. However, there are things I miss. Because one of the fascinating things that would happen when I was driving him around is he would ask some of the most interesting questions. You'd get questions such as, well, why would people use drugs? It would seem like a simple question, wouldn't it? Even more interesting was the day I got the question, why does money have value? Yeah, and then of course the classic one, where do babies come from? There was one time, and I think Richard was about 8 or 9, and Susan was with me at this one. We were driving around and he decided to bring it up a little bit differently. He asked me, Dad, do you remember when I thought that because toys came from Toys R Us, that babies came from Babies R Us? I know they don't come from Babies R Us anymore. Now, I happen to love that story because it's a great one to tell when he first came up with that. But apparently he figured out something a bit more. Because he said to me, Dad, yeah, I know the babies come from Mommy's belly. And I said, yes, that's indeed where they come from. So of course, what's the next obvious, simple question?
How did they get there?
How did it get there? I had to pause a moment and go, the daddy put it there. How? Oh, that's a secret. No, he didn't want to hear that answer. But it was the best one to give at that time. We're all asking simple questions. It would seem they should have simple answers. So I'll have a simple question for you today, perhaps a couple. Why are you here? Are you here to work on your leadership skills, your communication skills? Are you here for the coffee? Who's here for the coffee?
Absolutely.
We're here for the coffee. I don't know your answers, but you could ask me, why am I here? And that answer's changed. 21 years ago, I went to Toastmasters because it was more interesting than sitting alone in the lunchroom. 14 years ago, the answer was, I needed to be able to go someplace and know that life would get better. 14 years ago, it was to meet people in the local area. 7 years ago, I was coming because I had a message to give. Today, I'm coming because I find something that makes me happy. What makes you happy? That's a simple question, isn't it? To answer this question, there was a group of researchers at the University of British Columbia decided to do an experiment. They took groups of students, split them in two, and gave each student in each group either like $5 or $20, and told one group, go out and spend it on yourself, get yourself something. Told the other group, go out, spend that money on something else or donate it to something. And then afterwards, they took all of them and had surveyed them before and after on just simply their happiness levels. And what they discovered was that the group that went out and spent the money on others were significantly happier than the ones that spent it on themselves. Sonja Lyubomirsky explained this in her book, The Myth of Happiness. That when you go and give something to someone else, you are creating an intimacy and doing something of significance. And from the other book I talk about a lot, Stop Chasing Carrots, what is it that will make people happy? 6 parts are needed, 4 immediate and 2 long-term. Of the immediate, you need to have certainty, you need to have possibility, you need to have intimacy, and you need to have significance. And long-term, you need growth and development. And what do you find here? We're here every week. We are giving you a process to move forward and improve yourself. We are creating an intimate bond, and we are improving everyone's lives, and not just the people here in this room. And at the same time, you're improving your personal and professional development going forward. We meet all 6 of the criteria for what it takes to be happy. That's why I'm here. Because when I walk out that door every Tuesday morning, I feel a whole lot better than when I walked in. You ever wondered why you felt that way? I think now you have a little bit of an idea. And that's what I want to see keep happening going forward and to build on all of those. Because as we build on those relationships, on those strengths, and help everyone improve, our own lives improve, our own moods improve, and then we go out and help the rest of the world improve. And that's always been our greatest accomplishment. It's not getting President's Distinguished, it's not getting the ribbons, it's not getting our own personal rewards, and I'm happy to choose all of them. See, I'm here to get things. I'm here to get happiness, I'm here to get achievement, I'm here to get growth. But most importantly, I am here to give. I'm here to give feedback. I'm here to give evaluations. I'm here to give support. But most importantly, I'm here to give thanks. Mr. Harris, for having served us as president and led us to President's Distinguished for yet another year. Thank you very much, and please accept. Wants a picture, okay. By all means.
Okay, right here. All right, cheese.
Nice job.
Now I know why I'm here.
Answer the question.
James knows why he is here. Which leaves only the last simple question. Why are you here? Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. That's funny that you say that, and I was just saying, same question. Every time I leave here, I feel so much better. All right, we need a minute on the clock, Skip, for evaluations.
Just a minute. One minute.
Thank you. It is time for table topics. Please welcome Mrs. Mauricio.
Thank you, Julia. We have a small group and a lot of people have speaking roles, so you might get called on again. Changing of the guard is the theme of our meeting. So my first question is, how do you prepare yourself for change? Mr. Massa.
Of course. How do you prepare yourself for change? And this is the part when we do table topics to delay as much time as possible because you don't know what to say. How do you can't prepare for change. You can prepare for certain changes in your life. You could be as prepared as possible, but there are, if anybody knows, you can't fully prepare for change. You have to kind of expect the unexpected. And when that comes, you have to be able to be prepared in order to grow from that experience. There is no, I'll just share my experience. I didn't expect the change from my daughter that just came, of how much I was going to love this little person. I wasn't expecting that. So, but I'm willing to grow from that, and I'm willing to change myself for that. So you can't be prepared for change. All you can do is grow from change. Madam Tabletop Master.
Thank you for your loquacious answer. What big change have you experienced recently or will you experience? Let's go to John.
One of the biggest changes that I've experienced recently is the expansion of the work that I'm doing. I've been an entrepreneur now for 4 years, building it, trying to wear all the hats. And now that I'm starting to get successful, I'm going out of my mind because I'm too busy. So my eyes are half open here. I'm working from 7 till midnight every day, 7 days a week. At this stage now where I've got to shift and I've got to start handing over some of this control. And that's a difficult task for me. I'm kind of a control freak, I think. And so this is an important stage for me. And so I'm feeling and I've experienced a lot of change recently. At Tabletop Toastmaster.
So changing of the guard is like a new beginning. Speaking of new beginnings, what would you regret not fully doing, being, or having in your life, Nalani?
I've decided not to have regret for anything ever in my life. I've learned that there are experiences that are here for us to learn from. And as I get older, well, as the years go by, I'll put it that way, I decided that regret is such a negative thing. The energy brings you down, and it keeps you in a space where you can't move forward. It can stultify, because regret can sometimes become guilt, which is a very negative emotion. So I don't have regrets.
When I think of changing of the guard, I think of Guardians of the Galaxy, Chris Pratt. What's your favorite Chris Pratt movie and why? Claudia.
Thank you, Madam Tabletop Master. I don't know. I'm sure I know who Chris Pratt is.
Jurassic Park?
Huh?
Jurassic
The
Park?
last movie.
No, not either.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Lego movie?
Okay.
Just tell us you can see, Madam.
What's your favorite movie?
Tabletop Master is, I definitely haven't seen those movies. I like movies, but I am not a geeky of going to the movies. However, I would say, regarding change, one of my favorite things about change is the ability to learn new things. And sometimes it's difficult to get a new lesson in life, but I definitely enjoy change. I think it brings a learning experience that we can all grow from it. So with that, I'll give it to you.
Okay. What can you do today that you were not capable of doing a year ago, Skip?
So what am I able to do today that I was not able to do a year ago?
Yes.
That would be spending more quality time with my family. paying close attention to their needs and not just my needs. Since we get caught up in our day-to-day world with our jobs and having responsibilities, whether it's looking after our loved ones, family members, parents, to our children. So I've learned to balance, more of a work-life balance. So what I have, and I'm trying not to be loquacious here, I've learned to have more of a work-life balance environment. That's what I've learned.
Thank you all for your loquacious responses. Twice in there.
Yeah. Bang.
Back to Julia.
All right, keeping on time, it's time for our educational part of the meeting. Please welcome our general evaluator, Mr. James Harris.
Yay. Thank you, Julia, Madam Toastmaster. This is actually the best part of the program, although we've had some great experience already. We've been very loquacious. You know, here. I evaluated today, our first evaluator will be evaluating Toastmasters is none other than I have to introduce you first. To take a page from our new president, if you don't give me an introduction, then you have to take what I say about you. Minister, pastor, mentor, Russ Davies.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and Ernst Ubanchik. You gave a speech here, why entrepreneurs, people who start their own business, fail. That was a great topic that you gave to us because you are very experienced in this. And when I looked at the title earlier, I said, yeah, I remember you giving this speech, but in a different way. You are very experienced on the topic. You have a lot of information to give. A couple of things I want to evaluate. You move the podium out so you can own this space that you are going to speak from. You made a statement and used the word of the day, loquacious. And you are not going to be loquacious in speaking today. You are just going to stand here. I like the way you transitioned from that and told us you're going to tell us 3 reasons why people fail in their business. At that point, you told us just one thing, out of cash. You know, when people are out of cash, they fail in their business. Then you went on to tell us also about the traps that people need to be careful when they are doing business. That is understanding how to develop the traps. Then you went on to talk about 3 components when you really want to do a business. Then you paused there and defined for us what it meant to be an entrepreneur. You did a very good job in defining it, and you explained that and you gave examples of how people do that. Then the 3 components you gave us were you have to have a good technical information. Be good at what you're doing. You use the example of plumbing. If you want to be a plumber, just go ahead and be a good plumber. And you need to have a good manager, somebody who will take care of the things that happen in the office. And you have to be able to hustle. You have to be able to hustle in the business. So you really know this subject very well, and you can speak about it anytime. Here are a couple of things I want you to be careful when you give it, and I will just make some suggestions. Because you know the subject very well, just stay on 3 things. Tell us what you're going to tell us. What are 3 things? You tell us those 3 things, and you come back and you repeat those 3 things. Then we will remember, because I always want to learn from that. You really get excited with your hands. With your hands there.
My Italian background.
I know, Italian, German. Yes. While we're here at Toastmaster, that question, one of the things all of us learn is make movements with a meaning and a purpose. When you want to move your hand, you are saying something that will fit. The speech was great. I love it. You are very, very competent with the subject. I would encourage you to continue to develop the knowledge and quantify it for us and say, I'm going to tell you these 3 things about why business fail and give us the solution. Great speech. I'm looking forward to more. Mr. That was great, Gavin. You got
Our
it.
next evaluator loves Toastmasters, loves music, and loves business. Toastmaster Mauricio.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters. What a wonderful day today, and change is good, so I'm really glad to be part of it. And Steve, your speech was wonderful. I know you gave me this, and you said, well, this is the Icebreaker. He's one of the best speakers in the club with one of the very first speeches, which is the Icebreaker. So it makes it very difficult for me to really offer a good evaluation, but I do want to say that it was very impactful. I really like the structure of your speech, how you immediately brought the audience in by asking a question, and then you went in through the speech itself. And what really caught my attention was to get your emotion out of what you were talking, which is really impactful, and I think that we could all relate to it because you gave us things that came from you that we probably think ourselves, but we hadn't really put down into like paper or structure. So knowing that it's something that we probably all feel as members of the club, I think it was really great that you actually brought it up. And I really like the part when you talked about the different aspects of what brings you here, and you number them on one hand, and then you had the other aspect, which was the growth and development, you number them with the other hand. I think that was really great as you transition from one point to the other. But in general, I think it was great. I mean, you achieved what you wanted to say, and we really loved it. And I'm really glad that you're our new club president. So really looking forward to your next speech. Thank you.
Now for our technical table, we will start with our hard counter, Toastmaster Stephanie Byrne.
I'm happy to report that our speakers just really worked. Ernst, you only had 1 ah. Stephen, you had 1 so. Julia, you look clean there, except for that, without further ado. Lori, clean. Skip, a couple of ahs and a so. Rich, 1 but, a couple of double clutches. John, where's John? Where's John? Just 1 ah and 1 so. Nalani, and a very nothing. Claudia,
I didn't hear her.
you I didn't click all of them. Let's go. And a double clutch. James, clean so far. Gus, so great, very, very, very. Mauricio, very, great, and your clutch word is really. That is my report. 5 cents per, y'all.
I must say, the equipment is very conservative. We should have a bell. It's like ding, ding, ding. Okay. We can hear it.
I've used the buzzer here once before. Rich got upset.
Oh, that's why he changed.
He did?
That's how he got upset. Now, our grammarian, Toastmaster Claudia.
Yay.
Today, we had very good use of the word loquacious. Julia had 1. Ernest also used the word. Stephen, I don't know if you used it. I didn't write it down. I don't think so, right? Lori used it twice. Very good. Skip used it once. James used it once. Gus once as well. And Miss Stephanie also used it once. I don't have any grammar abuses today, or didn't listen to any creative or memorable use of language. So that's all my report.
Now, our timer Skip.
Yay, Skip.
Thank you. First, we have Rich Massa at 58 seconds. I hear that clicker. John Costa at 52 seconds. Nalani at 45 seconds. Claudia at 39 seconds. Myself at 53 seconds. And then for the evaluators, Gus Davis at 3 minutes. And then Mauricio at 1 minute and 30 seconds. That concludes my timers report.
And overall evaluation, the program started on time. Thanks to Rich who opened it up on time. And Toastmaster did an excellent job picking an excellent theme. It was timely, changing up the guard. Excellent. Good program. There's like no corrections almost to it. It worked, it wasn't no fault. Good job. Evaluations, good. Got these glasses, they won't stay on. Anyhow, simple question, very good. Speech is very good. Table topics, excellent. Good job. Everybody responded nicely. And we're so happy to have our guest here today who did our installation. All the officers look fantastic, like you're ready to hit the road running. And with a plan already in place. It was a good motivational speech. Everybody got fired up. I liked it. Okay, anything else? Anybody knows anything?
Next week.
Where's the schedule?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you put them out.
Okay,
Yeah,
now-
sign as president.
Now let's switch to the president. Thank you. Next week's agenda.
Coming around.
In the meantime, our guest. Any further comments to my guest, Susan Morgan? So get ahead.
Thank you,
What's the vision of
everyone.
that?
Division I. We
Division
are
I.
in
That's
Division
right.
I, and I will be directing that this year.
All right.
And I'm looking forward to a wonderful year with Lake Mary Toastmasters. And your new area director will be Daniel Sullivan, and I'm sure he'll be coming to visit soon. So he's a great guy, and I hope that y'all welcome him just as much as you've welcomed me. And of course, I'll always be back, so. That's it.
Could you
Yes.
talk about, for our new officers, the training?
We have TLI, which is Leadership Training Institute. It will be on July 7th. That's next week, so Saturday. So everyone that can attend, please attend. It's a wonderful thing. I don't know if we're gonna have makeup training, so you really want to try and get there if you possibly can. And we'll be seeing you there, hopefully. I won't be there because I'll be at my son's wedding. But all the rest of my team will be there, and Daniel will be leading the officers with his council meeting.
8 to 3:30, Cavalry Assembly,
Yes.
Clay Road in Winter Park.
You can sign, you can pre-register. It's $8 to pre-register online. Go to district84.com.org website. Who else? Mauricio, are you planning to go?
I'm gonna go.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Ernst, are you able to go?
Well,
Contemplating.
get in there, Ernst. Just wanna play golf.
Claudia,
We just
can you
wanna
go?
play golf.
I think so, yeah.
Awesome. 1, 2, 3. If you go, we've got our 4.
I'll eventually get to one.
So,
So go to, what is the website?
www.toastmastersd84.org.
The new officers, I already sent you an email with the link. And you should have gotten an email from the district. Everyone should have gotten an email from the district with that as well.
Okay. You can pre-register $8 or register at the door for $10.
In order for the club to get credit, you need at least 4 officers there, right?
Yes.
yes.
In July and in January.
Neither more.
Okay. So maybe it's 4
But we
officers.
get a little extra bling for the banner if we get all 7.
Okay. So.
And if you want credit for your part in club officer too, the training comes in as
So how many can make it on Saturday?
All new officers should be there.
Oh, no, it should be there.
All officers.
That includes lunch too, that $8.
And breakfast.
And breakfast.
Sure you can go. Sure you can go. Yeah, show up and do it.
$9 was gas.
Okay. Next week's agenda, January 3rd. Toastmaster.
July.
July 3rd, January. What happened?
J, J.
Did I go forward or did I go back?
By the way,
I think I go forward.
In the cold weather, yeah.
Toastmaster Stephen Morgan. And Sergeant at Arms, of course, Len Levy. Speakers Claudia, John Costa, and Nalani Valentine. Nalani, I didn't get that right yet, have I? Exactly, messing with you. Nalani, I get it right? I gotta say 10 times. 3 speakers, they're all here too. They're all checking the box. Good. Table topics, Mauricio, joint evaluator Lynn. Evaluators, James. We need 2 evaluators for next week.
you put me down for one.
Okay, Julia.
Oh, no, wait.
And Rich.
Sweet, man.
Okay. Arcana. Marita Bags.
That's the new member. I put her in.
I haven't seen her yet.
Yep.
Never met.
Somebody call her. I call her.
I'm sure we can replace an our counter.
Okay. Grammarian, you need a grammarian. Chama is Ernst.
You too kind when you.
We haven't seen Marvin now in about 6-7 weeks.
Well, he marked himself as out.
He's active. He was traveling the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
Was he last week, right?
No, he hasn't been here in a couple.
Who's that?
Marvin Korea.
Oh, Marvin, oh, yeah.
I can fill in wherever needed.
Okay, put Skip down.
Is grammarian Skip?
Make sure to go into Easy Speak, put your speech
Sign up.
information, workbook, and confirm goals.
Okay, don't forget the party is Saturday, for those who missed it,
Oh, that's right. Do you
from
need,
6 to 9.
do you need help getting food there or order food?
Isn't it normally like you bring up
Potluck?
potluck? Yes, potluck.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
I was just
Yeah,
gonna say.
well,
potluck.
are we doing potluck or is it more hors d'oeuvres or appetizers?
Whatever anyone brings.
Whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Well, we need to get together, I guess, and buy whatever you need.
Yeah,
Because
usually.
we advertise.
Usually we spend about $100 of club money to buy like chicken nugget tray.
Okay.
Something tray. So I'll do that.
You do that?
I'll do that.
All right.
Or you gonna be there?
I should be. I have family coming into town, so.
Bring it. If you want.
I'm gonna spend $100.
$100, and we're gonna need like mixers, like ginger ale, 7-Up, and I guess I can bring ice or shit.
Is that at your house? It's at your house, right?
House, right. I can do ice.
Fire up that ice
I got
maker.
that. What about big ice? Okay, so you bring all the ginger ale and drinks?
You would.
Okay. Anything else?
Peter, I'm not gonna be there, but the highlights at the Sunday email board McKenzie, is that his name?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
There's no-
he was the first guy who maybe 7 years ago, we were doing yoga at the Y that invited me to Toastmasters.
Oh.
I owe a lot to him. I haven't seen him for a long
Big
time.
Bud?
Yes.
Bud? Yeah, he's still up at college, I think.
Yes, so it's, sorry I missed him.
Who else gonna be there here? Like, who at the party?
And I'll call you.
And just making sure we got some people coming.
Are you, my parents are in town and so it's.
Bring them.
Bring them. There's lots of
Yeah. All the things.
So are you guys okay with a little music in the background, like maybe, what do you like, Al Green or Temptations, that kind of thing?
What was Stephanie listening to this morning?
Spiral gyro.
Bring this
Earth,
in.
Wind, and Fire.
Recommendation. We can have John play the guitar.
Wait.
What?
John is a musician.
He's gonna bring his guitar. He
But
said he
you're
was
gonna
bring
make
it.
him work at the party?
Yeah.
Entertainment.
Y'all gonna make us make food?
Well, and
Bring your guitar.
we could do a mixture. You're a DJ, right?
Yeah, look
We're
at
gonna have a wide
that.
variety of stuff now.
He's a
No,
dancer.
wait a minute.
$1 bills.
It ain't that kind of fun, man. I had to go to the Hall of Fame, I'm done.
That's down the road.
But just in case, get some singles.
Okay, realistic.
Yes.
I'd like some clarification, because when I go to a party and there's music, I dance.
Yeah.
But you said background music,
Yes.
which means we're just going to
Elevator
talk.
music.
eating.
We can dance in the
But we can do a brief interlude.
It's just a disco.
There you go.
I can turn it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, second row, you know,
Do you have a
All of a
dance?
sudden, music change.
It does.
yeah. We can create a dance floor.
Let's do
You can
it.
make anything happen.
Exactly.
Right.
They coming out for 2 days.
All right.
Anything else? Let me think. Party.
We filled in the 10 minutes.
All right.
Adjourn.
This meeting is adjourned.
Yeah.